tell me a little bit about, what was like what caused you to trust some random stranger on the internet to save your marriage, man?
Well, I mean, I, listen, I did something really bad. I mean, in my case, it was infidelity on my part. Um, I knew I messed up. The reason why I did it, not a great reason, but nevertheless, it was the reason. It was a money thing. I had an opportunity to make a lot of good money, and I ended up, making a deal with the devil for that. When she found out about it, she did catch me. Very violent. She's Puerto Rican, so yeah, she got violent. But um, and I say violent, but more with words than I mean, yeah, she smacked me a couple times, but that was besides the point. I deserved it. It didn't matter. Um, I knew I really messed up because she's not that type of person that you do that kind of stuff to. She's old school kind of stuff, and I knew I messed up, and I knew that this is the woman that I really want to be with. I mean, my wife is by far she saved my life back in the days with some stuff that went down, and quite honestly, I felt like I totally betrayed her. Um, I felt really bad, man. And on top of it all, uh, she not only is she beautiful, but she's a very kind woman. She's got an A personality, which led to some of the stuff as well. I've learned through your course that there were some underlying issues there within myself, through this program and through some other counseling that I do on the side. um because I gave up my A personality to her. um but I knew that she was the person that I want to be with, and so I had to do something, and I tried everything. I begged, groveled, cried. uh Obviously that didn't work. I I did everything. I did everything that you taught was probably uh not to do. And of course, you were right because it didn't work. Um, when I got onto the program, I read up on it. I saw it. I think I saw it on Facebook. I'm not even sure. Um, and then I started going through some of your videos, and I started thinking, "Damn, man, is this really going to work for me? I mean, is this what it is? Do I really have these other issues that are?" I said, "There's only one way to find out, you know." I said,
Right.
"Fuck it, I'm gonna take that step. It's worth it." I know that it was not that it's pricey, but it comes with a price. I get it. I understand that. So I said, "Screw it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it because this is like almost my last resort." Um, I tried it. I saw some of the. I started reading up on a lot of your stuff. The program that you sent. I started speaking to my coach, Kristen. She's phenomenal, by the way. She's straight up, man. She's straight up. Like the moment she catches you on something, she'll tell you you're wrong. Stop, 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 and then she'll explain it. And I love that. But that's the reason why I decided to do your program. It was my last resort. Um, and it worked. And it worked, man. I started implementing a lot of the stuff that you were teaching. I'll be honest with you. I, I was I was kind of skeptical at first. Um, because it didn't right away start happening. But then I started realizing it's because I wasn't really applying it the way that I should have been applying it. I still was letting my feelings and my internals take control. Um, I had to, I guess you gotta say, I had to take a step back and actually understand what it is that I was supposed to do. Once I started doing that, is when I started seeing the changes with her because she started seeing the changes within me.
Yeah.
Um, I slowly started grabbing my masculinity back, and when she saw that, it started off with her being threatened. She was feeling threatened, and she was feeling insecure about me getting my masculinity back.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, but I kept on, and she eventually jumped on board, and she started following my lead, so to speak. You know, um,
Yeah.
but I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so there's two things there. So I'm really interested in knowing. You said at first you were trying things and it wasn't working until you did something different. Like you actually applied it more. Can you speak more to that? Like, what did you do differently?
So my all right. I suffer from PTSD a little bit, actually a lot, through the military.
Yeah,
Um, and my temper is not the greatest either. So
sure.
you put those two together, and as soon as I started applying some of the stuff that you taught me, uh, I didn't have the patience, nor did I didn't have it to see it through, because the moment she gave any bit of pushback, or the moment that she started regressing everything that was going on, I would simply lose it. I'd lose myself. I became I started speaking in an argumentative tone, you know,
Right.
instead of just sitting back, kicking back, and listening to her. That happened for about a week through text and through phone calls, to the point where she just hung up on me. I couldn't even talk to her. So I gave it a couple of weeks. I redid the program, or I started reading over the beginning stages of the program, and I said, okay, I got to make my final stand, so to speak. Um, and I just took my deep breaths, woosah kind of thing, and I started again applying what it is that you taught me. Now, the main thing was to sit down and actually listen to her vent to me, which I wasn't doing before. Because as soon as she started, I was like, "You are we going over this again? Are you serious? I'm reliving this every time I'm talking." This time, I came back and I said, "Okay, I'm going to listen to everything. I'm going to understand what you're saying. I'm going to validate what you're saying, and then we're going to take it from there." So I listened to her and I let her vent, and I started letting her vent. And I said, listen, I totally understand. And you're absolutely correct. And I'm sorry. I did those things. I did those things. But that's
How
some,
much of a change was that for you?
oh, dude, let me tell you something. Once I started seeing her, um, she would still every now and then bring it back, but it would become less and less and less. So I became stronger. I became stronger in essence. I was able to endure it more and more, and I knew it was in my head already what I needed to do, and and I felt good about it. It felt really good to be able to do this and see what was going on. Um, so much so that I like it, and like I don't know how to explain it. I love these changes that I'm doing now. I feel like a better man, you know. At first, another thing that I said when I was telling you I was skeptical, some of the stuff that you was talking about, I felt like I was gonna be like a wuss, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna give into this, I'm gonna give into that. Come on, really? Come on,
Yeah,
man.
but Anthony, where did that voice come from? Who was telling you that you were a wuss? Was it you, or
Uh,
where'd you get that voice from?
that's me. That's my internals. I mean, I
I
guess
know,
that's
but like
the
who in your life would have told you you were a wuss for doing those things growing
Oh,
up?
my brothers and my father, absolutely. You know, them guys, they beat my ass down to make sure I was a real man, old school kind of Puerto Rican kind of man, you know. Um, and you know, and you would think I would know better, considering the fact that my brothers have gone through three marriages themselves, you know, and stuff, and my father and my mother never really communicated so very well. My father was a very stern individual, so I was grown, I was raised that way. That was the way I was raised. So doing your program was a complete recircuitry in my head. It was a hardware upgrade, you know? And so it was tough. I'm not gonna lie, man, it was tough in the beginning, but I had to, deep down inside myself, listen, man, I got to do something because this is it. And I don't want to move on without this woman because I know this is my woman, you know? And things happened because of what I did, and I had to eat it. You know, so I don't know if you're familiar with the case at all, but after what I did, she gave me, you know, we had the argument, uh, but like within a week or so, we were going to try to work things out again. But I never disconnected from the other lady. But it was on a professional basis. I didn't quit the job like I should have. So that was an attachment still, and she caught me doing it. And I was trying to do that behind the scenes. She caught me doing that, and that's when all everything hit the ceiling like there was no tomorrow. And that's where she told herself that she was done with me, and she opened herself up to a whole new world. She did things that I was totally flabbergasted about. I didn't think she would do that. Didn't think she was that type of person. Um, she actually had relations with another man. Um, and after speaking to her about it, and I totally believe her because I know how she is. She's very upset with her. She's very apologetic about it. She said she wished she never did it. She regrets it. Um, but at first it bothered me a lot because she was, she was sacred to me, But then I had to think about it. What pushed her to that? It wasn't just my infidelity, Josh, and that's the one thing that I've learned through your program as well. It wasn't just my infidelity. It's what led up to the infidelity as well. What made me, I mean, yes, there was a reason. The money was the reason, but what encouraged me, what helped me, what made me go that route, or even think about going that route? Because in the beginning of our relationship, I would never have done something like that. I would never. And then as time went on, um, I noticed that my actions were the reason for uh, why our communication wasn't so great. Um, and it was because I wasn't validating her. I was falling into I gave her the A game. That's the way I say it. I let her become the the lead. Because that's the personality she has. So you know what? I was tired of struggling with it, so I just gave it to her.
Mm,
And I noticed that it was so much on her plate because I was just giving it to her, and I got lazy. I got lazy, and because of those actions, she became very distant with me. Um, the intimacy was not there. Um, the happiness wasn't there as much anymore. So, and I started taking it as, oh, okay, so she's rejecting me. Well, what am I, what do I
right,
do? So it
right.
started leading into those other things. So, with that being said, I mean, it's I had to understand why she did what she did. It wasn't just my infidelity; it was because of my actions prior to the infidelity, and and I had to eat crow. I had to suck it up. And does it trigger me sometimes still? A little bit, but I've learned to get past it to the point now where I can actually laugh at it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that makes sense. I know it sounds kind of retarded,
No,
but
no, not at all. Like when you could see, what's man, Anthony, you say that, man, and like a lot of people, they would probably think that, but like when you can look back at these traumatic experiences with humor, it's what comedians do, right? They're like, oh, my mom used to beat the shit out of me, ha ha ha. It's like it's healing to like look at things back with humor, man.
yeah, well, and that's the way I look at it as, and she's not quite there yet. She's not quite there yet, so I don't try to crack the jokes in front of her like that with that yet. Um, but I think the way things are going right now, I'm in stage 5, and but I still do some of the potency actions. I still, I try to be creative with some of the things that I do. I still give her my CLCs up front. I tell her, hey, listen, we did this, we did that. Now let's go to stage 2. Let's go to a different phase. Let's just do this. Let's get this going to the point where we're just about where we had left off prior to the unhappiness in the relationship coming into effect. Making plans, future plans. We're going to start our business now again. Looking ready to. I'm about to retire now. Once I retire, we're going to look to possibly moving to Arizona, and all the plans are back into full effect. We're back on track with everything. Um, so,
Well, so
um,
so is it
I'm
okay
sorry.
if I kind of like summarize everything? So I just want to make sure I have this right.
Yeah,
The first
yeah.
thing is, how long ago did you join the program?
I believe it was late May, early June.
Okay, yeah. So you put in some work. You put in a lot of work, right? Yeah.
Yeah, bro, dude. Yeah, and,
Yeah, no,
and
no.
mind you, I was kicked out.
So yeah, like infidelity on both sides. You were kicked out of the house. Was she like just like give me space? Did she mention divorce? Like what did she say any of
Oh yeah,
that?
oh yeah, yeah,
So she
yeah.
mentioned the divorce, and then
Yeah.
now you're back in the home in stage 5. Like, tell me some of the wins. Like, how do you know you're stage 5?
Oh, dude, the intimacy is beyond now. And that just happened recently, where uh we were being intimate, but the feelings weren't there, and I could see it in her face. We had a talk. I had one of those CCC talk. What do you call it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you had it right. CCC. Yep.
So we were having one. I had one of those talks. I sat her down and I said, "Listen, let's talk about this. Let's get this behind us and tell me how you feel. I'll tell you how I feel, and let's try to fix things up." we had that talk, and she told me specifically, all right, listen, I want to get to that point. I see that this can work, but you have to give me time. And I said, that's cool. I'll give you time. That's fine. But I just want to let you know that, I mean, I want to be intimate with you, but I'm not going to try to continue to, what do you call, I don't want to initiate unless I know you're 100 kind of thing.
Yep. And that's not putting pressure on her at all. So like, can I just say,
Exactly.
Anthony, can I just say, you know how I always say
Mhm.
always verbatim, like you want her, but you don't need her? The way you
Yeah.
approach that conversation with her, you're like, hey, I want this, but I'm not going to do it unless you're ready. Like that is the perfect apex male, like high value
Uh,
man.
well, dude, let me tell you that after some of the stuff that you've taught me, it starts coming. It comes naturally. At first, you got to think about it, but then it just starts coming, and it's funny because it clicks in your head. It's like that's what he's talking about, and it worked because the very next night, Josh, the very next night, we went out to the concert, right?
Mhm.
She wore the sexiest freaking dress. I was like, "Oh, you look very good today, girl. Don't be bending over, okay? Just you look good." And when we got to the room, underneath that was something even sexier, and she was like, "Let's have some fun." I was like, "Whoa, let's do this." So just recently, that's what solidified the stage five as far as that, and just the giggling and fooling around now, and now she just jumps on top of me, talks in her little girly voice, like she used to,
Feminine,
and
that feminine voice, right?
yes, 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 and she's falling into a B position now, and I'm totally taking the lead at this point. So and I'm being very good with it. I'm not trying to push anything. I say, hey, listen, I think this is what needs to be done. Let's get this done. You have any input, whatever the case is, maybe whatever the case may be. It could be anything. It could be as easy as what are we going to eat today to as okay, what are we doing for the following week? Let's set our schedule, how we're going to make this happen, kind of thing. So and it falls into place. It really does fall into place, and I'm enjoying it right now. I'm totally enjoying it. And I foresee this. Listen, there's much more that we can work on and that we can learn from each other. And there's more that I learned, just like you said, man. I know Tony Robbins was your mentor. I'm pretty sure, right? It was Tony Robbins, right?
I mean, not personally, but I've done a lot of his
Okay.
programs. Yeah.
Okay. So just like that, uh, you're my mentor now. You know what I'm saying? And just like you said, you still learn. You're still learning stuff here and there. Um, so I still read her. I still try to understand a lot of the things that she says. I think the biggest thing that I have now is that I can actually sit back, relax, and listen to everything she says, so I can actually think about what she's saying and put it together, kind of thing. So that's my big strength that I got out of this is that I'm able to, because that opens the door for everything else. Once I actually give her the time to speak, so I can validate what she's saying, and then take it from there, kind of thing. So I'm enjoying this. I really am enjoying this, and thank you, thank you, because I foresee a long future with this, and I'm looking to make it happen.
Anthony, you mentioned skepticism early on. I
Mhm.
understand that skepticism, but if you could do me a favor and tell me, like, what was one, if you can give that skepticism a voice, what was one thing it was saying? And then after you tell me what that skepticism said, how did you overcome that?
Okay, so knowing that my wife has that A personality, I was a little skeptical about being a little. I, I kind of felt that, and she's a smart individual too. I kind of felt like she's just going to think, okay, you're just doing this just to try to get back in my pants or something like that. And I'm trying to think two steps ahead of the game, like a chess game. And so she's going to say that, so this ain't going to work because I already know how she is and this and that. So I was a little skeptical about how it's going to be. Again, also some of the stuff that you were mentioning, some of it had some strength behind it, but a lot of it made me feel like I had to give everything up in order to make
Mm,
this happen.
mm,
So, for example, uh, she, I could admit to a lot of the faults and everything, and I'm wrong and stuff like that, whatever it is that I was wrong in. But she brought up some stuff that she tries to be Inspector Gadget, and she said some things that just didn't happen. And it's like, and I'm like, no, that didn't happen. That's not what happened. But I don't know. At first, I didn't know how to approach that without being almost argumentative.
Got it.
So, um, and I didn't want to give it up, but then I'm thinking back to the program, you just got to sit back, relax, and just let it go and let it roll off. What do I do? I brought that up to Kristen one time. And, again, it was just, I have to sit back, relax, listen to what she has to say, validate what it is that needs to be validated. And in myself, what I did was I just went over, correction, I skipped over what it is that she was saying that I didn't, that I did, that I didn't, but I didn't do. Um, and when she would bring it back, I said, listen, I understand you feel the way you feel, but you have to understand that I'm 100% with you. And everything that I told you is what happened. Okay. So you're going to believe what you're going to believe, but the only way that you're going to know is through my actions. So let me just, forget about what I'm telling you and just understand me by what I'm going to do for you, kind of thing. And, but know that I've told you everything that has happened, and there's nothing to hide anymore because you know it all. You know the very worst of it. These are the little things that you're talking about. Why wouldn't I bring that up? You already know the worst. You know what I'm saying? So, needless to say, that took a little bit to work out. But as far as being skeptical, back to, I'm sorry, I jump a lot. I'm sorry. Um,
All good.
I was a skeptic because I felt like I was being weak, and I didn't want to be too weak in the beginning stages.
No, yeah,
But I
and that's totally understandable. I can see why you would think that based off what I say, and I guess the reason I say that is because I err on the side of guys like taking more responsibility for everything because a lot of the guys are so defensive, right? But at the end of the day, what I usually tell you guys, if you can recall this, is understand, like, let her emotions calm down first, validate her, and then once she's calm, then you can state like what the truth, like, what your position is and what the truth is, and all these things that you were like want to defend with. But if you just try to defend yourself when she's heated, she ain't gonna hear it,
it's
right? So yeah,
yeah,
you could
you're right.
definitely state your side of things and come to a compromise and an agreement and work through stuff together after she calms down. And that's why being that short first, validating her emotions, and then you go to those points.
Got you. All right. I mean, and that's kind of sort of what I was doing. I started learning. Like I was telling you, when I reapproached it, when I took a step back and I reassessed everything and I came back, that's when I started letting her speak out, letting her say everything that she had to say. I would validate her, and then I would tell her, hey, listen, I understand again, and I would reiterate. You know, it's funny because a lot of the stuff that I did, it was repetitive. I would say the same things over and over and over again to the point where I was thinking to myself, I said, damn, man, is there something else I need to say, son? So I started getting into to the potency actions where I would start doing things now instead of just talking about it, so that she could see that, you
Yeah.
know, and that's when things really started coming together. Um, she told me herself straight up. She said, "Listen, I see these changes, but are they going to last?" I said, "It's only one way to find out now, isn't there?" It was one of those joking things with her, and again, so far so good. Things are working out. And I'm feeling this is not just for her. And like you said, and you mentioned this so many times, this is not just for her. This program is built for myself. You know what I'm saying? So in the very beginning, another thing that I had to deal with was this is something that I've learned whether through the military or from my younger years. Um, expect the worst and hope for the best, right? Or prepare for the worst and hope for the best, right? So I was prepared. I was at one point in the beginning. Don't forget this happened. This started all happening in February. So I was down in the dumps. I was done. Like I was messed up. She wanted the divorce. She contacted a lawyer. All this good shit. When I hit the program and I started doing the program and I started listening to the program, I started preparing myself for the worst, building myself up, doing things that I should have been doing from the beginning, what I used to do, started going back out there, getting myself together, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, trying to get myself stronger again. So I was doing all that while I was away from the house, living at my sister's. and it worked. And this is, remember I was telling you, she was feeling threatened with some of the stuff that I was rebuilding myself. Like I was becoming that masculine guy again, and
Yeah.
so she felt threatened because I was being more positive about myself. So that's the good thing about your program, because if this didn't work out, I was ready at that point. I was ready to continue on and make it happen, move forward, kind of thing. You know?
And thing, I just want to say here, and then I'll have you wrap up with some questions you have for me. But one thing that I see consistently with every single guy, and like, man, I knew this was a pattern, but I still, when I see it, I'm just like, of course, that ability to learn to like let go of that outcome, like, hey, she could leave me. That creates that healthy detachment of that wanting her but not needing her. That's what that is. When you prepare for the worst, but you're hoping for the best, you want it to work out, but you're like, hey, I'll survive. And a lot of guys, when they have that, like, I'm gonna die without her, she feels that neediness, and that's what she repulses from, right? That's what she projects.
Yes, yes. And you're absolutely correct. Again, I never told her that I'm prepared. I can't tell her that phrase because then she'll break the fuck down. But I did tell her, I said, listen, my objective is to make this work and to have a life with you. However, if that doesn't happen, it is what it is, and I understand. But at least I know I tried, you know? So she understood where I was trying to get at. She knew with that plus the changes that I was making for myself, she knew that I was ready to move forward. And she knows that's she knows that I can continue to move forward. I mean, I've done that all my life, especially in the military. You have an objective, your objective is so and so. If you lose half your fucking guys, you continue to the objective. You keep moving forward at all costs. It doesn't matter. So it was the same kind of concept, just obviously it's a little different situation. But and she saw that and she knew that. And I think that kind of softened her up a little bit. And I don't think, like you said, women say what they don't mean. Sometimes
I don't know.
she didn't
I
really.
don't know what you're talking about.
You listen. You were right on, man. You're right on. Everything that you said, I want to say it's just about 99.9% accurate. I can't say 100% because ain't nobody in this world 100% accurate. But a lot of that stuff that you said, once you apply everything that you've said, it starts coming together. You just have to be patient for it to come together. And that's what, it's funny because I spoke to a lot of these guys that are on the program. I reached out to them a lot. Some of the guys. I have a good relationship. As a matter of fact, as soon as I get done with you, I'm about to call Mike Weber. We're gonna hook up this weekend for some bowling.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he's a good dude, man. He's a good dude. But anyway, and some other guys like Dave and there's a few other guys, man, and they're good guys, and some of them have the same situation I have, and I try to help them out. But I tell them, listen, this is what worked for me. Um, try it, see if it happens for you. But the biggest thing is you got to be patient. I said the one thing that I learned is you got to be patient and let it flow. Let it flow. It'll fall into place eventually. Um, Especially if they're experiencing some of the stuff that I did, which was the hinting. She would do some things that would make me say, why would she do that if she's completely done with me? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right. Yep.
So,
And that's the thing.
so
Yeah, with those hinting things, man, it's so much of like the way you perceive it, right? Like one example is like a wife reaching out something randomly about like, hey, can you pick up this from this? And it's like a lot of guys like, oh, she just wants something from me, she whatever. But like that's a win because she could choose to do that on her own if she really wanted to, right?
yeah, absolutely,
And so
absolutely, absolutely, dude. But I've been winning a lot, man, and the score right now is like 100-3, maybe, because I had a couple of losses there, no doubt. But that was again, when I have a loss, I step back and I reevaluate, and then I reapproach it, and we continue. We move forward, man. You move forward with a different plan, a different way to approach it. You know what I'm saying? So.
Anthony,